Never even heard of it.
It's like rain out there now.
Glad I didn't bring my scooter. Thought about it.
Dan, can you tell us any more about the state title winning Calvert Seneca's group?
Not too much. I mean, I know Lanacek girl, I think Emma White was on it, Leah Smith, and Chuck. Yeah, they had a pretty good little team this year. The one girl won state twice in volleyball and then won state in track too. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, Bryce, when we were at Body Works, we'd see Leah in there sometimes twice a day working out. Just
Yeah.
this generation of kids, they're workers.
Yeah.
I mean,
They really are. Don't even get us going about the boys' baseball. Calvert, going on, but Columbia, it's unfortunate.
I was thinking about it.
Did you see that?
Didn't last.
See the video of it?
Oh, I didn't.
It was close. He looked to be safe, but
all I can say is I've never put myself in that position to make that call. So.
yeah, I know. He looked like he had a bad angle from like the front, but
I didn't turn my tape machine on. My notes were very short.
The storyteller in me thinks it'll be, better historically. They can have like their Uncle Rico moments. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to welcome you to our first regularly scheduled council meeting for June 6, 2022. Our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led this evening by Councilmember Leopard.
Will you please join with me in the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Forrest, would you please take the roll?
Councilmember Leopard.
Present.
Councilmember Perkins. Councilmember Perry.
here.
Councilmember Gillig.
Here.
Councilmember Yanatuno.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Present.
Let the record show that 5 of the 7 members of council are present, currently 6 members of council. Did everyone have an opportunity to look over the minutes for the May 20th regular and committee of the whole meetings? Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Seeing none, those will stand approved. Committee reports for finance, there is none this evening. Law and Community Planning, Councilman Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Law and Community Planning Committee meeting was held Monday, May 23rd, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. in the Marquez Committee Room. Attending were committee members Steve Leopard and Dan Perry, along with Director of Law Brent Howard and Nick Dutro, Director of Communications and Constituent Services. Meeting was called to order 4:34 p.m. Leopard stated that the purpose of the meeting was to discuss deer concerns. The item was appointed to committee during the June 6th meeting during public comment when a resident complained about the deer population and garden destruction. With nobody from the public attending, Law Director Hauer and Chairman Leopard informed those in attendance of the actions of the committee on May 25th, 2018, with the same concerns. The committee in 2018 sought the advice of ODNR and invited them to a committee meeting along with residents with concerns. The ODNR advised and recommended solutions for landscaping and deterrence of deer, but not all residents were happy with the results. In 2018, the city of Tiffin was open to the possibility of the temporary installation of an electric fence along properties on St. Francis Avenue to deter deer from entering an area. The residents soon lost interest and did not pursue the concern further. The committee agreed that there are concerns in every area within the city, not only with deer, but other wildlife. While some residents take action to deter the deer, there are residents who encourage deer onto their property with salt blocks. No action was taken by the committee, and the committee adjourned at 5:05 p.m.
Thank you, Councilman Leopard. Any questions? I suppose one thing that we could do, Nick, is as we redesign the website, just maybe a section with some of the hints from ODNR, just some tips and tricks for how to best deal with the population. May be helpful. Very good. Thank you. Materials and Equipment, Councilman Jones.
No report at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you. Personnel and Labor Relations, Councilman Perry.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone for Recreation and Public Property?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone for Streets, Sidewalks, and Sewers? Councilmember Iannatuno.
Thank you, Mr. President. Street, Sidewalk, and Sewer Committee meeting was held Tuesday, May 24th at 4:31 p.m. in the Hayes Committee Room. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss Mayor's request for legislation number 22-12, Urban Paving Project, the 22-13 RFQs for East Perry Street Reconstruction Project, 22-14 for bids and contract for East Street Reconstruction Project, 22-16 LTCP, Backflow Prevention and Stormwater Diversion Project, 22-17 Riverview Estate Sewer Rehabilitation Project, and 22-18 West Market Street and South Monroe Street Emergency Sewer Repairs. In attendance were Mayor Aaron Montz, City Engineer Matt Watson, Superintendent of Public Works Brandon Berner, Director of Law Brent Howard, Council Members Dawn Iannatuno, Steve Leopard, Ken Jones, and Zach Perkins. City Engineer Matt Watson began the meeting explaining that 22-12 Urban Paving Project is requesting authorization to move forward with requests for qualifications for the construction, administration, and inspection for the project, which is planned for next year. The proposal is for the resurface of West Market Street from Elmer Street to State Route 53, as well as South Washington Street from St. Joe's Church to Glen Street. The construction estimates are about $600,000, and 80% of that is paid for by the ODOT Urban Paving Project grant. Councilman Leopard asked if we needed to install the handicap ramps at those locations. Engineer Watson informed us that those ramps are either complete or will be completed by this time, or completed this year before the project begins in 2023. Engineer Watson proceeded to explain that 22-13 RFQs for East Perry Reconstruction is very similar to 22-12 in that it is requesting authorization to move forward with requests for qualifications for the construction, administration, and inspection for the East Perry Street project. This is a full rebuild of Perry Street from Circular Street to Jefferson Street. We will be using consultants for these projects since the grant pays for 80 to 95% of their services, and that lets us use our resources in other areas. The reason for this portion of Perry has failed is due to a brick subbase that has slowly deteriorated. The current estimated cost is $1.1 million, with 95% of the project potentially being covered by the grant. Engineer Watson explained that 22-14 also pertains to the East Perry Street Reconstruction Project. This specific ordinance authorizes the city administrator to solicit construction bids when that time comes. The grant for the project becomes available July of 2023, and we should be able to maintain traffic through Perry Street during construction due to it being a one-way street. Once the project is underway, it should be completed within 2 to 3 months. Councilmember Yanatuno then made a motion for the Director of Law to prepare legislation for 22-12, 22-13, and 22-14 for the next City Council meeting. The motion was seconded by Councilmember Leopard. The motion passed unanimously 4-0. Superintendent Berner began by explaining 22-16 LTCP backflow prevention and stormwater diversion project is to be completed by July of 2023. We need to install the last 6 CSOs that do not have backflow preventers on them. We needed a request for qualifications and design for those 6 and the remaining CSOs on the system, and it will be much easier to do them all at once. CSO 17 diversion of stormwater is the other part of this proposed legislation that needs addressed. This is located on Liberty Street and Riverside Drive. A suspense and emergency are also being requested due to the strict timeline of completion by July 2023, and many of them items needed are special order items. Superintendent Berner stated that 22-17 is a request for qualifications for a condition assessment of the Riverview Estates Sewer Project area. Originally, this came to council in the end of 2021 for approval for a design to move forward with a full replacement. As small repairs have been made by the city, Superintendent Berner believes we can use some less intrusive pipe replacement repair methods. With the pipe not running down the road and being offset under people's driveways, this can save a lot of time and money. The request is to allow a consultant to run a camera down the 9,000-foot stretch of sewer for a condition assessment. Superintendent Berner stated that there are multiple repairs on the West Market Street portion of 22-18 from Nelson Street to South Sandusky. We are requesting suspense so that we can address these issues before we get to urban paving on this stretch of road. The current estimated cost for this project is $1.6 million. Director of Law Howard stated that this ordinance would appropriate the $1.6 million for this sewer repair project. The South Monroe Street portion is a brick sewer repair that comes from South Washington Street and has an S shape down the alley near Optometry and the post office and is difficult to navigate. This is approximately a 630-foot stretch of sewer pipe that needs replaced. We are looking to have a bid openings around July and completion in November. Councilperson Jones then made a motion for the Director of Law to prepare legislation for 22-16, 22-17, and 22-18 for the next City Council meeting. The motion was seconded by Councilperson Yanatuno. The motion passed unanimously 4-0. Engineer Watson discovered an issue with the culvert on Harvest Lane a couple years prior, but was hoping it would last a few more years. During an inspection this year, he has determined that the culvert has deteriorated completely and needs repaired immediately. The current estimated cost is approximately $88,000, and we have the funds for this repair. Engineer Watson is asking council to allow the law director to draft legislation and authorizing the city administrator to solicit construction contract bids for this Harvest Lane culvert project with a budget of $100,000. We are also asking that this be suspended and have an emergency this evening. Councilmember Yanatuno then made a motion for asking council to allow the law director to draft legislation authorizing the city administrator to solicit construction contract bids for the Harvest Lane culvert project with a budget of $100,000 to be introduced at the next meeting. The motion was seconded by Councilmember Leopard. The motion passed 4-0. Engineer Watson proceeded to announce that we officially submitted a grant application for the ODOT Small Cities Grant, which is only available for cities under 25,000 people. We utilized this previously for the Miami Street reconstruction. The grant would be used for reconstruction from Hall Street to Tome Street. This would be approximately a $1.7 million project, and we are asking for 95% funding. The funds for the grant would not become available until 2025. Councilperson Leopard then forwarded petition 102, Riverfront Alley Vacation. The alley is located behind Kier's Speed Shop, and there is currently no action needed. With no further committee business to discuss, the meeting adjourned at 5:20 p.m., and it was respectfully submitted by Councilman Perkins.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilmember Yanatuno? Thank you both to Councilman Leopard and Councilman Perkins for the reports, although I'm starting to wonder if Zach timed his vacation along with the length for you to read. Very well done. Do you have anything for economic development and downtown planning, Councilmember Iannatuno?
Thank goodness I do not.
Very good. Does anyone see a need for a committee of the whole meeting this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to reports of the officers, starting with His Honor, Mayor Aaron D. Montz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know we do have a lot to get through this evening. We have the Fire Chief's annual report, so I'm going to keep things short. First off, this evening, I do have a mayoral proclamation to read, and this is for Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. It states, whereas more than 220,000 Ohioans are living with Alzheimer's disease or another dementia, and another 421,000 Ohioans are unpaid caregivers, and we know that half of those living with the disease have yet to be diagnosed. And whereas Ohio is projected to see a 13.6% increases in cases by 2025, and whereas Medicaid costs of caring for individuals living with Alzheimer's was $2.534 billion in 2020 and is anticipated to increase by 16% by 2025. Whereas caregiving for individuals with Alzheimer's disease often takes an enormous toll on family members, caregivers themselves often suffer from more stress, depression, and health problems than caregivers of people with other illnesses. And whereas we recognize the important role of the Alzheimer's Association Northwest Ohio chapter plays in meeting the needs of people affected by Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia through family and clinical support, early detection and diagnosis of disease education, advocacy, and research. Whereas Alzheimer's disease is not a normal part of aging. It is a progressive brain disease without any way to prevent or slow its progression and is fatal. Whereas June is Brain and Alzheimer's Awareness Month, recognizing a disease that affects more than 6 million Americans and over 220,000 Ohioans. Therefore, be it resolved, I, Aaron D. Montz, Mayor of the City of Tiffin, do hereby proclaim June 2022 and the City of Tiffin has Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. This was done on the 6th day of June in the year of our Lord 2022. I believe we have a representative or two from the Alzheimer's Association here. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much for that proclamation. And I'd like to invite everybody to join us for the Walk to End Alzheimer's, which will be September 24th at Tiffin University in the Heminger Center. If you're interested, just go to alz.org/walk. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm sure Nick's going to want a picture of you with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just very quickly, a quick financial update. If you've been looking at the numbers we've been sending out, we are about 17.3% ahead of where we were last year at this time. We did have a true up in May because if you recall, in 2021, tax returns were not due until the middle of May versus April. So now we do have a very good indication of where we are. We're about 17.3% ahead of last year at that time, which is over $850,000 ahead, which is just very good news. And we have now hit a record $5.16 million of unencumbered dollars in the general fund, which is certainly a record high. We've never surpassed anywhere near 5 million, and we are there. So city's in very good financial shape moving forward. With that, I do want to remind everyone that the city birthday party is coming up on Thursday, June the 6th, downtown. It's part of Third Thursday.
June 16th?
Did I say 6th?
16th, maybe?
I get talking, I get on a roll. Yes, 16th. I've got it written down here. I just missed the one. June the 16th, downtown Tiffin, part of Third Thursday. There is a car show. There is a band at the East Green. Just lots of activities going on throughout the downtown in the parking lots, on the street. Please be sure to join us. It's open. Obviously, we hope everyone from the public shows up. I believe we've also got some video and photography crews here that are doing some things for the website, so we're hoping to see a packed downtown Tiffin for that birthday party. And then we will have one meeting beforehand, but please keep in mind Independence Day, all day long events at Hedges Boyer Park to also help commemorate the city's 200th birthday this year. With that, it starts off, there's a car show first thing in the morning, I think that starts at like 9 a.m. and we've got events all day. There's something like 15 food vendors that are set up. There's just activities all day long. And then of course we have several bands playing in the evening that culminates with Daryl Worley, who will start a little after 8 o'clock. out at Hedges Boyer Park, and then the fireworks show will begin promptly at 10 p.m. So lots of fun. Pray for dry weather. But with that, it does conclude my report until we get into the fire chief. But are there any questions from council members before we get to the chief? Okay. Without further ado, the final of our departmental annual reports. Fire and Rescue Chief Rob Chappell is here this evening to present. Hey, maybe that's a Freudian slip there. Only you can prevent wildfires. Yeah. Our fire chief is here to present his 2021 recap and heading forward into 2022. So Chief Chappell, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity, and Council President for recognizing me and allowing me to speak to council this evening. To the 5 of you council members that are here tonight, sorry you didn't get the word in advance that I was going to be presenting, so I will try and keep it brief, though. Apparently, my presentation last year made quite the impression. I still hear about it frequently, and I'm sure between the mayor and myself and possibly the city administrator, we'll all be receiving text messages updating how well I'm doing.
Legendary.
So with that in mind, let's get started with part 1 of the only part. We're not going to go on. So just a recap of our mission statement. This slide was in last year's presentation. I think it's important to remind you guys, as well as the community, what our mission is, and that's to protect life and property through dedicated and professional fire and EMS services. And we do that through a lot of different methods and applications. Of course, firefighting, that's, everybody sees the big red trucks and assumes that's what we're here for. But we also provide emergency medical services within our city. Technical rescue, things like hazmat, rope rescue, swift water rescue, all those other additional fun jobs. Community risk reduction programs, the prevention stuff that the mayor led in with. That's a big part of what we do, and many of you have heard about our ISO scoring in the past, and ISO has been transitioning from how well do we go put out fires to what are we actually doing within our community to prevent fires from occurring. And so that's where a big paradigm shift has been occurring with the way they evaluate different cities' fire departments. Our commercial building inspections would also be a part of that ISO scoring and is a significant part of what we do. And with that's part of the building plan reviews and inspections. So any new or renovated building, we oftentimes have what we call in-progress inspections that we do with that. So to specifically focus in on just our firefighting stuff, right now our department is staffed with 30 personnel, including myself and the deputy chief, Mike Holman, who recently got started in that capacity. We have 3 crews, each with 10 people, essentially that we do 24-hour shifts, and then they have 48 hours off. So 24 on, 48 off. The crew that started today started at 0700. They'll work till tomorrow morning at 0700, and then they're coming back on Thursday. Pretty routine schedule for most fire departments. We provide fire protection for the entire city, but we also have auto aid agreements with several surrounding townships, as well as providing mutual aid on an as-needed basis with those other areas as well. Difference between auto aid and mutual aid, with a reported structure fire, dispatch would be sending us along with, let's say, Clinton Township. We had that occur over the weekend. There was a kitchen fire on State Route 101. We were dispatched along with Clinton Fire. So you essentially have 2 fire departments responding just to try and make sure that there's enough personnel and equipment that's brought to that scene. If it turns out that it's not a significant enough fire, then they're able to turn the other department around and, hey, thanks, have a nice day. And then, of course, we also perform origin and cause investigations on any fires that occur within the city. That's a very important job for us to make sure we get right, primarily initially to rule out whether there was any criminal involvement with an intentionally set fire, was it accidental, but then also to determine is there some sort of bigger picture item here. Many of the recalls that you might see with electrical appliances and the hoverboard batteries and things like that, those are all stemming from fire investigations where they saw a pattern developing. And when we report that information back, the state's able to start to compile that information and push out those safety recalls. In 2021, we responded to 690 non-EMS calls for service, including 22 building fires within the city. We also assisted neighboring departments at 42 of their own fire-related incidents. And our average response time for all non-EMS calls was 3 minutes and 37 seconds, which that's pretty outstanding. Not to sit here and pat myself on the back because it's the people who work with us at the department that are making that happen. Again, going back to the ISO scoring, when dispatch receives that call, from the time that gets processed through dispatch and we get the tones, we have 80 seconds that we're to be putting on all of our turnout gear, getting into the trucks and heading out the door. From there, a new clock starts and they give us up to 240 seconds to be arriving at the scene. And as you can see, we're well within that time frame. So we're doing things pretty well. On the EMS side, 24 of the 32 personnel, including myself and the deputy chief, are all certified as paramedics. And we provide EMS coverage, of course, to the city, but we're also contractually covering all of Clinton Township and the northern half of Eden Township. And those areas do provide some additional call volume for us for certain. And then, but we also had mutual aid calls to assist Seneca County EMS, and also even a couple transports for the city of Fostoria when we get called over there for mutual aid for EMS and fire incidents. Again, in 2021, we responded on a total of 2,924 EMS calls. That's roughly 8 every day. The breakdown for basic life support, advanced life support, you can see those numbers. We transported 2,115 patients, so 6 of every 8 patients that we encounter each day on average, we do transport to hospitals. One of the big issues that we encountered in 21 was during the spikes with the COVID pandemic. Mercy Hospital was on diversion quite often, and there was actually one evening in particular where we had ambulances. We had 2 ambulances transporting patients to Fremont, 1 to Findlay. We ended up on a later call that day at Fostoria and in Tiffin. So we actually had patients that we transported to hospitals in 4 different counties, all in a single evening. I'm glad those days, knock on wood, so far are behind us. And we'll talk about our COVID numbers here in a minute. Also last year we had 24 cardiac arrest calls. 5 of those we had what American Heart refers to as ROSC, a return of spontaneous circulation, which is pretty decent numbers. It's just a shame that we really can't, because of HIPAA rules and everything, we really can't get into the type of calls that our personnel respond on and the amazing things that they do. It does take a toll on us. 8 calls a day just for EMS services, that excludes anything fire related. That does keep us pretty busy. And the same guys that you might see throwing a football around out in the street by the station, they very likely could have been on a call that morning with a 23-week-old baby that delivered very early. They provided life-saving measures to that baby and actually had it breathing and with its own heartbeat when they got to Mercy Hospital. The cardiac arrest calls and all that, all the car accidents, all that takes a toll. So when guys do have some downtime and they're out there having some fun or going and stopping at any one of the local dairy bars, getting some ice cream and milkshakes. Cops love donuts. Firefighters, we like our ice cream. So we always are getting that. It's just a way for us to try and decompress a little bit. Our EMS responses by year, when we looked at the numbers from 2019 to 2020, that's the first time in the while that I've been with the department that we actually had a decrease in our EMS responses. But then in 2021, it made up significantly for that. We saw overall a call volume increase of 12.2% last year. So that's a pretty significant jump for us. Our COVID patient encounters, we have 2 separate lines on the chart here. The more yellowish line is the suspected cases, and then the darker line was the actual confirmed cases, and that's starting back in December of the year before. So Tiffin was no different than the county, which was really no different than the state, and even nationally, when everybody was seeing spikes, we were here as well. We got some great equipment in. shortly after I became interim chief with the UVC lighting to properly decontaminate the ambulance and everything. PPE was getting very difficult to come by, and if you could find it, it was very, very expensive. I forget how many times over the price of just gloves has increased for us, but all the costs of doing business in the world of EMS has greatly increased. But like I said earlier, hopefully the worst of the pandemic might be behind us now. Councilman Leopard, I understand in the past you would frequently ask about our number of Narcan administrations, so this slide's for you. We did have a slight decrease with 80 administrations in 21 compared to the 90 that we had in 2020. Not all of these necessarily are tied directly to like a heroin or opioid overdose. A lot of times in our cardiac arrest calls for when we aren't sure why the person may be in cardiac arrest, we can give Narcan just to try and rule out that possibility. But unfortunately, a lot of these are due to overdose type calls. And we did see that in 2020, especially when a lot of the stimulus checks were going out, that each time those checks would be received, people would unfortunately be using that money to go and buy the heroin and such. And we would see an increase in those types of calls for us. So. Emergency responses, like I said, we kind of do everything. Firefighting is always the coolest one to talk about, so I just included some fun pictures of that. The building on the left there, that's the actual Seneca tile factory that was over in Bloomville that burned a year ago in December. Significant building. If there was ever a building that I wished we did have a drone at the time to have fly up over top of, that would have been amazing, because this picture is only a very small portion of how big that entire complex was. So, looking at our call volume by month, just to kind of break down the numbers a little bit here. February of this last year was our slowest month, which you can see it kind of usually is. We averaged a total of 7.8 calls per day. October was our busiest and averaged 11.5 calls per day. Days of the week. Fridays. So if you're looking to be able to have a little bit more time to stop by the station and be able to spend some time with us, looks like Thursdays might be your best opportunity. And then by hours of the day, definitely a little bit of a drop off overnight. Daytime is our busiest for sure. But you can see overall consistently we're staying busy around the clock. And responses by district. The first ward, we had 800 emergency responses in. Second ward, 617. Third ward, again, goes to the leaderboard for 1,055. And the fourth ward had 500 responses last year. Our contractual areas and mutual aid calls accounted for the rest of that number. Just kind of showing a 3-year trend for each ward. We can see where the third ward continues to increase in call volume each year. And our average response times on EMS calls, again, these to me are just phenomenal times. We have a very good system in place. The benefit of having personnel staffed in at our 2 stations 24/7 leads to very quick out the door times, which means that our citizens are really getting a premier level service from our providers. Our building inspections, certainly not the most exciting thing that we do, but it does carry some meaning. In our city, we have about 900 commercial buildings that we inspect each year. And what we try and do is combine compliance with education. The idea and thought being that if we can teach people about the things that they can do with their workplace to keep that safe and prevent a fire from occurring, they're able to take that lesson back to their own home. Well, now we've just protected 2 structures by interacting with that same person. And it's also phenomenal training for our crews, being able to get inside each building and gain that familiarity so that in the event of a fire or even an EMS call, some of the larger buildings, very easy to get turned around in quickly if you don't have somebody showing you where to go. Oftentimes, we may have to go back to the ambulance to get more equipment, bring back in. So having that, background information and knowledge to get you through to the next stop can help a lot. I mentioned earlier our new and renovated buildings. We have various in-progress inspections and permitting that we do in conjunction with the engineer's office to make sure all those projects, while everything is still just on paper, are off to a good start. We don't want things to be under construction, all of a sudden have a problem arise. So we try and nip all those things in the bud early on. We also do consultations with various businesses that are looking to expand or renovate. They may call with questions asking, well, what do you think? Can we do this? What about that? And we work with them through that process. Our community risk reduction, really our flagship program with this is our K through 5 school program that we do each year. Similar in some ways to the work we do with Councilwoman Iannatuno. And it's a great program. Travis Staley, who's pictured there, now has his picture on the side of the trailer even. He came in very gung-ho and very excited to be able to take over this program and has just done an amazing job for us. This program is known throughout the entire state of Ohio as being a very well put together progressive curriculum starting at the kindergarten age and building up through the 5th grade. So it's certainly a big feather in our cap on that one.
And he has a nickname.
He does have a nickname, Stay-Low.
Stay-Low.
Yep, even has it on his hat, so, yeah. Our other programs, we have one in particular is our Senior Fire and Fall Prevention Program. In the left-hand picture there, that's firefighter Nick Goshi. And we actually put this program together several years ago going through a fire life safety educator class. And it's aimed at going out to all the senior apartment buildings in our city and discussing fire safety as well as fall prevention. We have a really large amount of our EMS calls are due to falls, and this program was aimed at creating an awareness among this age group on things that they could do to try and prevent that from occurring, which helps them stay at home more, stay out of the emergency rooms, out of the hospitals, out of the rehab facilities, and hopefully have a very healthy and productive life at home. It's a very well-received program. Anytime we go into the senior apartments, I know Nick really enjoys it. And, he probably has to run out of there sometimes. We'll just leave that at that. We've also been able to have, post-COVID a little bit, reopen the stations, have the station tours coming in, which is always so nice, whether it's a group of Girl Scouts coming in or Cub Scouts and just different groups coming through and seeing the trucks and talking to us about what it's like being firefighters and EMTs. It's always a lot of fun for us to, because a lot of times we'll have one of our younger guys doing it, and then we'll try and stump those guys with our questions too and put them on the spot. With community involvement, the picture on the left was from the Halloween parade that we did this last year. To my knowledge, this is the first time we've ever actually decorated one of our trucks and put it in a parade. In the center there, hard to notice him, but in the bright yellow suit, that's firefighter Nick Houston. He's been wanting to get involved with some of our stuff for a couple years now, and I tasked him with putting together some ideas for the Halloween parade. Pictured there in the gorilla costume is firefighter Gary Amlin with his daughter, and on the right-hand side, ready to work out back in the 80s, was firefighter Scott Brooks and his wife and their little girl. To me, this is what the fire service is really all about. It's that second family that we create. And when we have these opportunities for our firefighters to bring their families in and be a part of something like this, to me, I think that's just, it's a priceless opportunity. And I was glad that they were willing to do that. And of course, we have to give Santa a ride too, coming in at that time of year. We've been able to do more work, getting back into the schools again, post-COVID. both high schools. The Columbian football always does a great picture for us, much cooler than we could ever come up with on our own. Too bad it's their players in it and not ours, but it may not look as cool then either. But always a great time when we get together with them and do this. Recently, we were at the Tiffin Middle School for a Shark Tank event where the students had all created a business plan, and myself and the deputy chief and some of our police officers and other members from the community were all there and playing the role of the sharks and bidding on these projects. And honestly, one of the highlights of my day. I really enjoy doing that sort of thing. One of the big things that is really going to become a big deal for us, I believe, especially because of the 3 members involved with it, it's in conjunction with our Parks Department, and it's the Tiffin Fire Youth Academy that Lieutenant Brose, Firefighter Heiser, and Firefighter Brooks have all teamed up together and put together this camp that we've actually added a day to for this year. And we're taking these groups of early teenage kids and teaching them all about EMS, fire. We teach them CPR and first aid. We put them through an agility test similar to what we have to do ourselves. And we're just trying to expose them all to what the fire service is all about, just trying to plant those seeds for a long-term payoff, we hope. And it's really been a very well-received program, and the 3 of them are doing some great things with it, and looking forward to see what they have planned for this camp coming up at the end of the month. The Handle with Care program is a new program that was just put together last year, aimed at trying to create more positive interactions between police and fire with the youth of the community. And it's also a resource to support that same youth in the event of an emergency or some sort of bad occurrence that may happen at their house. And part of that was just going to the local schools and spending some time with the kids out on the playground and having lunch with them. And Jill Goshi, credit to her for getting all these pictures. This one, to me, was just priceless. The look on that little boy's face, that's what it's all about right there. So our goals and plans for 2022, shifting gears a little bit. We're looking to continue to integrate new and update existing technology within the department. We have a lot of bits and pieces of software that we've been using for several years. We're working to implement a new program platform for us that will encompass everything from our truck checks in the morning and our scheduling to all of our EPCRs for doing emergency calls, and then our fire inspections. All those things will fall under one software platform now that hopefully will make life a little bit easier for all of us in the long run. We're going to be focusing on officer development training. To me, that's a very important link in the battle for employee retention within the fire department. Having good, solid leadership, I think, will help to promote a more positive atmosphere within the department. We're going to be working on a new 5-year plan, mapping out how we're going to improve upon our current level of service. I have no interest in just maintaining the status quo. I have enough years left here. I hope to be able to make some good changes and move the department forward in a positive manner. And these are going to include things of getting some serious discussions underway for a new station. It's going to be definitely a long-term project. I may never work a single day in that station. That's how many years we could be talking about, but we need to start planning for it at some point. Our apparatus, fortunately, most of our fire apparatus we're in pretty good shape with right now. We've got a few more years before we may need to look at replacing an engine, which would be the next item. We are working on getting an order placed now for a new ambulance, and that has been quite the ordeal. Coming out of the COVID world with all the shutdowns and backlogs, we're looking at a 22-month lead time, and depending on the vendor that we're working with has contingency expenses built into the contract that adds up to $21,000 for unforeseen costs down the road. The maximum cost that we could potentially have to pay using the ARPA funds is about $375,000 for an ambulance. To put that into perspective, our 2019 ambulance that we have, that we were able to get an AFG grant for, cost us $250,000. We had that ambulance within 6 months of placing the order. This one, the order should be placed this week. We are looking at a 20 to 22 month lead time. And we have 3 ambulances that aren't getting any younger, that are getting used more and more. So we're really keeping our fingers crossed that for the next almost 2 years, everything holds together for us. So we definitely have to, be mindful of that. We're also looking to build stronger, that wasn't my timer, I was going too long. Okay. Also going to be working to build stronger relationships with local agencies and community stakeholders. One example would be that we actually have 3 different training events coming up with the State Fire Marshal's Office, where they're going to be bringing equipment to our city that we're going to be able to do regional training with neighboring departments as well. We're also partnering with Tiffin University. They've got a Forensic Science and Criminalistics Academy camp coming up this next week that we're going to be doing a live burn training for those students that are attending. And they're going to come through afterwards and be able to investigate the fire that we did. And it's, according to TU, there's a lot of other programs similar to this camp throughout the country, but this is the only one that incorporates any such training like that for the kids to participate in. So I think it's a good representation for TU and for our community. As we look at our recruitment and retention, some of you may have been already contacted about this issue, but I assure you that this is not just a Tiffin or Northwest Ohio problem. It's not an Ohio problem, regional, national. This is truly an international, worldwide issue with a shortage of firefighters and even police on some level too. I have friends in Australia that have reiterated that yeah, they are always hearing things about trying to recruit firefighters for over on another continent even. Our staffing levels, we've always had not much issue holding 3 crews of 12. As I mentioned earlier, we're at 3 crews of 10. I have 5 vacancies right now that are fully funded that I simply cannot find people to fill with. And I am not about to compromise the integrity of our department or the safety of the people that work at it by just hiring anybody to fill those 5 spots. I want solid, dedicated people that are going to do right for our citizens and for our community. It's kind of it's not a lot of fun. I'll be honest. It's very disparaging at times when you do hire people in and then we turn around and see them leaving right away. But again, it's not a thing just here in Tiffin. Back in 2018, there was this newspaper article about the Newark Fire Department. They had lost 13 firefighters to better paying jobs since July of 16. And the list just goes on from there. This is an article from 2003. And you can just see all the different headlines from all over the country. It's hard to pick up any sort of firefighter or trade magazine or get an email that doesn't talk about something with recruiting and retention. But the one thing that really seems to stand out is that nobody has that guaranteed solution any longer. I did like this one article here in particular about empowerment being the key for retention, and that's certainly something that I've attempted to do, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. When we look at this map that I put together of northern Ohio, the star is to kind of indicate where Tiffin and Seneca County would be. Each of the red dots that you see on the screen is one of the people that had submitted their test scores to National Testing Network that we use to initiate our hiring process. You'll see that there's none in or really even that close to Seneca County. And that's a problem, very honestly, and something that I am going to be dedicating a lot of my time and departmental resources into trying to change in the near future and over the coming years. It's not an overnight fix. So the first thing we have to admit is that old keys don't unlock new doors. And the fire service, we pride ourselves on our history and our traditions, but at some point we've got to check that a little bit and admit that the world is changing faster than the fire service, and now we need to, I've described it to the mayor, I need to start this marathon with a sprint, and I'm pretty sure that that's not ever advisable, but it's something that we need to do to try and get caught up. So in part, we're working to expand our social media presence from beyond Facebook. You know, that's great. We get a lot of likes and everything through Facebook, but we're not really reaching the demographic that we're looking for in the age groups to attract new firefighters to us. So we created an Instagram account. We have a Twitter account. Yeah, that doesn't get used as much, but at least we're on Instagram, which my boys told me a year ago that, yeah, that one, they're still teenagers that use. It's okay, cool. We're going to be working on the development of a recruiting video to not only highlight our fire department, but also our community. My goal is to not just try and convince somebody that Tiffin Fire is a great fire department. I need to be able to sell them on the idea that this is the great community that you want to live in, work for our fire department, raise your family here, all the fun things going on, like what the mayor was talking about earlier, coming up on the 16th, and you know, the 4th of July. Tiffin just has so many good positive things going for it, and I think we would just be remiss to not include that in the recruiting video. So I really look forward to getting to work on that in the near future. We've taken steps already and have more in mind to try and streamline our hiring process to expedite it. We've had many occasions where we have a new list certified by civil service, and by the time we get around to doing interviews, the people have already been hired at other fire departments. That doesn't work well for us. We're going to be partnering with Sentinel Vanguard with a new program they're hoping to launch perhaps as early as the fall of '23 that will help with our issue of trying to home grow firefighter EMTs right here in our community that may be more mindful of staying here. And then something else that I'm definitely going to be researching more into. For many, many years, military recruiters have had carte blanche to be able to get into the high schools and interact with the students there and you know, convince them that, hey, you don't necessarily need to go to college. Military is a good option. You can make a good life with that. We need to be doing something like that with the fire service because I think it's just become a forgotten profession. Following 9/11, everybody wanted to go be a firefighter. I guess I could be accused of falling into that same group there. Yeah, but since that time, we've lost some of that allure, especially to the younger generation. And so I think we just need to do more by getting in front of these high school age kids and promoting what the fire service is all about. So I mentioned earlier the Newark Fire Department, they had lost, I think it was 16 firefighters, or 13 since 2016. I'll be very honest, since 2019, we've lost 19 firefighters from our fire department of 38 people. 11 went to other fire departments, 6 retired, and 2 aren't known to be in the fire service right now. So it's a tough place for us to be in right now. But like I also mentioned, we're at the start of that sprint. The empowerment that I spoke of earlier as well, I'm trying to do that through the creation of committees within our department, which for the most part has been pretty well received. The truck design and decaling, we changed the decals on the trucks back to our more traditional look that a lot of the guys really wanted. We were able to get a new utility truck this last year. And I really had zero involvement with that. I put our Captain Korfman in charge of that. along with a couple other members from the department. They spec'd it out and made that happen. Through the sale of some of our recent items on Gov Deals, we're going to be able to do a complete re-outfitting of all the fitness equipment here in City Hall, which not only is good just for promoting good health, but it's also helpful for stress relief and just overall wellness. And then our station design and projects, thank you to the administration for their support over the last couple of years in getting our truck rims all repainted. Just this year, we were able to get new flooring installed. It's really updated the look of these otherwise rather old fire stations, and it is a morale booster to the personnel. We're working on updating our training program. Deputy Chief Holman's been spearheading a lot of those efforts, working to improve and increase our electronic capabilities through better use of technology. Again, as we bring in more and more youthful firefighters that are used to doing so many things with electronics, we need to be able to adapt to that and accommodate their style of work as well. We've created a reimbursement program for paramedic school. The city does not pay for that schooling up front, but what I did rather was create an opportunity for people when they obtain that certification to then over a span of 4 years be reimbursed for that training as part of a retention effort. Paramedic school, depending on the program and everything and the parameters they put on it, may be as much as $8,000 for somebody to incur those upfront costs. We've also tried to promote more teamwork opportunities. One cost me a little bit of money out of my own pocket. We did our first NCAA tournament bracket, and it was a crew competition. And at first it was kind of, oh, that's stupid. Why would we want to do that? And then all of a sudden it's, hey, how many points does our bracket have compared to theirs? And by the end, it's all anybody wanted to talk about. And then it was well, Chief, this is going to cost you. But it was a good time. They even let me join them for lunch on my own dime. So thank you and congratulations to Crew 2 for that. All right. So in closing, Phil Jackson, big time Chicago Bulls coach when I was a kid. I know he didn't stay there. He went to that other team on the West Coast. But the strength of the team is each member, and the strength of each member is the team. And that is remarkably true for the fire service. And I think will be at the core of us as we try and figure out what the recruiting and retention problems are. Not just again here at Tiffin, but nationally, as we start to recruit people that are more mindful of wanting to serve and answering that call to service rather than the what's in it for me. That's going to really help us get to where we want to be, and I feel confident we'll get there. So with that, Dale, if you will, stop the clock. I'm sure I'm already over. But
well, we'll separately time the questions.
Yes, please.
Councilmember Yanatuno.
Thank you. I now have 2 questions.
Okay.
First one, just for clarification from when you were speaking about our mutual aid. You said that we go to Fostoria also. So do they also go to all of Fostoria or just Seneca County Fostoria?
We will go assist Fostoria Fire with any fire they have in their city.
Okay.
They also cover portions of townships that surround their city, but we've only ever been called to assist them within their city limits.
Okay, just curious when you'd mentioned that. My actual question that been wanting to ask is I'm always curious about how things actually happen and work and stuff.
Okay.
And when you showed that fire from the tile company, so your hoses and everything are going in there. Everything's going in there. So when you come back, and I was at your fire station when you were sworn in, I don't smell smoke or anything. So how do you get rid of all that smell? Because houses that have incidents have all these smells and stuff. So how do you get rid of that so the fire stations don't smell like that?
Well, a lot of that process actually starts at the fire scene. Cancer prevention is another big topic that I didn't discuss tonight, but it's certainly a very big topic in the fire service and something we've really focused on here at Tiffin Fire as well for several years. So when we get to the fire scene and the fire's all put out, We have airtight bags that we use to put our turnout gear in, so that doesn't go back into the fire trucks. Otherwise, we just contaminated the entire cab of the truck. So all that gear goes in there. The utility truck that we just replaced, we're able to take all of the hose and equipment that was used at that fire scene, load that on the back of that truck, again, not inside a cab, and transport that back to our Station 2. We have a machine that we're able to use a detergent and a bunch of water, and it will scrub the hose for us. We just got the new PPE washer that we're able to wash all of our helmets, boots, gloves, the air packs that we wear, the bottles that go with those, the face pieces that go on our face. All of that goes through a detergent wash there. And then we have gear extractors for our turnout gear that we're able to put the gear directly from that bag right into the washer. It's got special enzymes and everything that really break down all the carbon particulates. And then the gear comes out smelling and looking like it's almost brand new. So yeah, we really don't have, and the goal is to not have that smell of smoke and all the off-gassing of the chemicals and everything that gets into our gear, gets into the hoses and other equipment. All that we try and immediately mitigate as soon as we get back to the station, if not at the scene itself.
And is that more difficult in the wintertime and bad weather and stuff? Because you've got hundreds and hundreds of feet of hose that you've got to get refolded back up into those trucks.
Yeah, during the wintertime, it can be an extra challenge because the hose will start to freeze. Your turnout gear will freeze. Oftentimes, you'll have to sit down and somebody will pull the pants off of you because they may be frozen that solid. But yeah, it's all part of what we do.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. On a not so much personal note, I got a quote on our house insurance just last week, and I asked the agent, was I getting a discount for city being things at level 2, correct? Mm-hmm. And achieving that level 2 status, and they were well aware of it, said I was getting a discount. So it's favorable for the city of Tiffin.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's not a guarantee. We work continuously to try and maintain all that. And again, as I mentioned, a lot of the prevention efforts that we have in place are what's going to help us to attempt to try and keep that.
Okay, good.
Well, if there are no other questions, Chief, sincerely appreciate your report. Really appreciate your out-of-the-box thinking and progressive leadership over there as well. You've served the department very well, and further proof that the right decision was made when you were promoted to chief. So I'm very happy with your leadership, and I think that I echo the thoughts of all of us here on council, really. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Chief.
My report is concluded, but if there are any questions, Mr. President.
Any additional questions for Mayor Mons this evening?
All right, thank you.
Very good. We'll now move on to Clerk of Council Ann Forrest.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mayor Mons provided us with a financial update earlier. Anything additional for Kathy, Dale, or?
She'll be presenting the May report at the next meeting for you.
Good, thank you. And Director of Law, Brent T. Howard.
Yes, thank you. Just one item. A while back, council approved the receipt of an easement from our investments along South River Road, you recall. And that easement's been signed, recorded now, so the city has all the rights necessary to begin to do the development of that scenic overlook along Sandusky River, and then also develop more of that multi-use trail that we've supported. So another step towards the process of that work. And that concludes my report.
Very good. It's been pretty neat to see the transformation of South River Road. You know, that was the one that we went down far too fast in high school after leaving Columbian. It's nice to see the progress. Any questions for Director of Law Howard? Okay, we'll move on to written communications.
Thank you. We have Mayor's request for legislation, number 22-19, grant through H2 Ohio.
Has any legislation been prepared for that?
It is not.
No.
Okay. I'm going to assign that to the Finance Committee.
And Mayor's request for legislation number 22-20, appointment to Planning Commission, John Bing.
That will be assigned to Law and Community Planning.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F22-18 to amend the 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to create Fund 442 for the 2022 street improvement bonds, appropriate funds, and approve a transfer.
Mr. Mayor, has legislation been prepared on this?
Yeah, that's 22-49.
This is 22-49, thank you. Mayor's request for legislation, F22, or excuse me, 21-105 will be held on file. An ordinance has been prepared for this evening.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F22-19 to amend the 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate funds into the Fire Department budget.
Finance Director's request for legislation will be held on file as an ordinance has been prepared for this evening.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F22-20 to amend the 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate funds into the park budget.
This request for legislation will be held on file as an ordinance has been prepared for this evening.
And then we have from the Seneca County Board of Elections, the certificate of the result of the May 3rd, 2022 election regarding the 1/4% road and bridge levy continuation.
Thank you, Council Clerk.
And that concludes the written communications.
Any questions for Council Clerk Forrest this evening? We are now under oral communications. Anyone that would like to speak with council, please sign in, direct your questions to Council President. I will ask that you try to keep your remarks to 5 minutes or less.
Good morning, or good evening, council members. For those who don't know me, my name is Adam Gilmore. I'm the development coordinator for the Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership, and I wanted to quickly address you and give you an update on the CDBG process. Tonight on your docket is Ordinance 22-37, which will allow the Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership to apply for the CDBG Small Cities allocation grant in the amount of $150,000. The plan, as laid out in that ordinance, is for that money to go to the Tiffin Community Kitchen. That money will be going towards, as currently construed, programming aspects specifically targeted at low to moderate income individuals, specifically presumed classes, so disabled individuals, elderly individuals, and so on. That programming will likely be taking place in a loaned space, or not a loaned space, I'm sorry, a leased space. And as that process moves forward, you will, of course, be kept in the loop on what's happening and when that sort of process will be moving forward. That is all the information I have on an update for you on the CDBG grant. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at any time. You can always reach out to me, and I will give you an update on where we stand in that process and what the application is looking like.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions for my fellow Fighting Scott? All right, thank you, Adam. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time?
Good evening, Mr. President Pro Tem, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Christopher Leibold. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Albrecht & Coble. Tonight I'm joined by my colleagues, Joseph Albrecht and Jordan Treese, and together we represent Miss Alexandria Orta. Alexandria is here. Thank you, Alexandria. I think you are all familiar, at least in some regards, with Ms. Orta. Several years ago, she was subject to an invasion of privacy in the Tiffin Fostoria Municipal Court here in Tiffin. While being a quiet visitor to the court, she was ordered to take a drug test. When she refused, as is her right, as a lack of cause, she was jailed, subject to pregnancy tests, body scans, and all the other indignities of being imprisoned without cause. All for sitting quietly, as is her right, participating, watching that day's proceedings. You know, these things, frequently we hear, you know, what did the founders intend when they wrote the Bill of Rights or various laws of our Constitution? And I think the things that happened in that court on that day are the very things that our Bill of Rights were meant to protect, okay? There was no probable cause. She did nothing wrong. Her privacy was certainly invaded, and she still is harmed by that to this day. Secondly, that injury is not just to her alone, but it extends to all the residents of Seneca County. As a result of that, the judge of the court was suspended, as you well know. And this courtroom, the people of this county, of the city, have been without an elected judge for over 6 months. This lack of accountability hurts all of us, and it costs all of us. The Supreme Court has appointed 5 visiting judges, and that takes away from them and their duties. That takes away from other courts because that strains the number of judges available to hear causes. Finally, we'll implore you to suspend the rules and declare the seat vacant as soon as possible. This will allow you to help restore Ms. Orta, allow her to feel justice for what was done to her, but also it's about justice to the residents of the city and of this county and the entire jurisdiction, because right now, there's no elected judge to hear the causes before them in this court. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leibold. Would anyone else like to address council at this time? Very good. We'll move on to motions. Are there any motions this evening? Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would so move that ordinance number 22-53 be read in its entirety this evening.
We have a motion on the table for ordinance 22-53 to be read in its entirety. Do we have a second? Councilmember Yanatuno.
I'll second, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second for ordinance 22-53 to be read in its entirety. Any discussion? Like to take a vote on that motion? Let's do that by voice, please. Council Clerk? Roll call, yes.
Yes.
Perkins? That's absent. Perry?
Yes.
Gillig?
Yes.
Yanatuno?
Yes.
And Jones?
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0. Any additional motions this evening?
I need someone to do 22-3.
It's 22-3.
Okay, that was mine. Okay. Mr. President, I would ask that ordinance number 22-3 be removed from the table for vote this evening.
Very good. We have a motion for ordinance 22-3 to be removed from the table for a vote this evening. Councilmember Perry.
Yeah, second, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second for ordinance 22-3 to be removed from the table. Director of Law Howard, this essentially is us confirming the vote of the voters, correct?
Exactly. You may recall you introduced this ordinance months ago, and then you placed on the ballot the road and bridge levy, the continuation. The voters approved that, I think you could say overwhelmingly. And so now it's your job is to follow the wishes of the voters and approve this ordinance so it will become effective and the road and bridge levy will continue.
Very good. Any further discussion on that matter? We'll go ahead and do a voice vote for that. All those in favor of removing ordinance 22-3 from the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. And thank you, Councilmember Leopard, and thank you to the voters of the city of Tiffin for allowing this wonderful program to continue. We'll now move on to resolutions and ordinances.
We have no resolutions this evening, but I have ordinance number 22-3, introduced by Ben Gillig. An ordinance amending sections 197.012 and 197.013 of the codified ordinances of the city of Tiffin, Ohio, in order to provide for the continuation of the city's existing 1/4% municipal income tax levy during the period from January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2028, to provide funds to pay certain costs of maintaining, repairing, and improving public streets in the city.
That is the third reading of ordinance 22-3. Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for passage of ordinance number 22-3.
We have a motion for passage of ordinance 22-3. Do we have a second? Councilmember Jones.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Thank you. Motion and a second for approval of ordinance 22-3. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask Council Clerk Forrest to take a vote on the ordinance.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
And Perkins. I'm sorry.
Ordinance 22-3 is approved by a vote of 5-0. With our sincere gratitude to the voters of Tiffin.
Ordinance number 22-42, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with a professional design firm for the construction, administration, and inspection services for the 2023 urban paving project.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-42.
Ordinance number
22-37.
Oh, yes. Yes, we did have one skip.
I skipped that one.
It's third reading for 37.
I might have gotten stuck in here. Oh, I've got it now. Thank you. Just got stuck behind the pile. Okay, ordinance number 22-37, introduced by Steve Leopard. Ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership to apply to and receive from the Ohio Department of Development, Office of Community Development, for a small cities community development block grant for qualifying projects and allowable administrative expenses, authorizing bidding and executing of contracts as needed, and declaring an emergency.
That is the third reading of ordinance 22-37. Councilman Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for passage of ordinance number 22-37.
Do we have a second? Councilmember Yanatuno.
A second, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second for passage of ordinance 22-37. Is there any discussion? Thank you to Mr. Gilmore for the update on 22-37 during public comment. Okay. We'll go ahead and take a vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Emergency passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-37 is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, now we go to ordinance number 22-42, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with a professional design firm for the construction, administration, and inspection services for the 2023 urban paving project.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-42.
Ordinance number 22-43, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with a professional design firm for the construction, administration, and inspection services for the SR 18-0.07 East Perry Street Reconstruction Project.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-43.
Ordinance number 22-44, introduced by Zach Perkins, ordinance authorizing city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, and recommend and execute a contract for the SEN SR 18-0.07- East Perry Street Reconstruction Project.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-44.
Ordinance number 22-45, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with a professional design firm for preparation of the engineering, design, and construction, administration, and inspection services for the long-term control plan, black backflow prevention and stormwater diversion project, and declaring an emergency.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-45. Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for the suspension of City Council's 3 reading rule and passage of ordinance number 22-45.
We have a motion for suspension of our 3 reading rule and passage of ordinance 22-45. Do we have a second? Councilmember Perry.
Yeah, I'll second, Mr. President.
Motion and a second for suspension of the 3 reading rule and ordinance 22-45. Is there any discussion this evening? Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's concerns with supply chain issues on backflow prevention. That's why we're asking for the suspension.
It certainly makes sense, and we heard Chief Chappell's concerns with the EMS vehicle and the different lead times, so I imagine getting this going will behoove us. Any further discussion? I'll ask Council Clerk to take a vote on the suspension, please.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Emergency passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-45 is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Ordinance number 22-46, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with a professional design firm for preparation of the engineering and design and construction administration and inspection services for the Riverview Estates Sewer Rehabilitation Project and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 22-46.
Ordinance number 22-47, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, and recommend and execute a contract for repairs to the West Market Street and South Monroe Street sewers, amending the budget for the expense and declaring an emergency.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-47. Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for the suspension of City Council's 3 reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance number 22-47.
We have a motion on the table for suspension and passage of ordinance 22-47. Is there a second? Councilmember Yanatuno.
I'll second, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second for suspension of our 3 reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-47. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, our Public Works Department has told us that supply chain issues, again, could lead to longer lead times, and we want to be prepared and ready.
Understandable. We have a neighbor who's doing some amazing rehabilitation work, and he can't buy a garage door for love or money, pretty well anywhere, for quite some time. Any further discussion? I'll ask Council Clerk to please take a vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Emergency passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-47 is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Ordinance number 22-48, introduced by Ben Gillig. Ordinance adopting a tax budget for fiscal year 2023, attached hereto as a part hereof, and directing the Director of Finance to deliver the budget to the Seneca County Auditor on or before July 20th, 2022, and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 22-48.
Ordinance number 22-49, introduced by Ben Gillig, ordinance amending budget ordinance 21-105 to establish Fund 442, 2022 street improvement bonds, transfer money to pay interest, and appropriate money for the sewer bond, and declaring an emergency.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-49. I would like to ask that council suspend our three-reading rule and immediately pass ordinance 22-49. Is there a second? Councilmember Leopard.
I'll second the motion, Mr. President.
Very good. We have a motion and a second for suspension of our three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-49. Is there any discussion? This just allows us to get, Mr. Mayor, the process started, the fund created.
And to
so that
pay
we
the
can-
interest.
And to pay the interest. Very good. Okay. Council Clerk Forrest, would you please take a vote on the suspension?
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Emergency passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-49 is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Ordinance number 22-50, introduced by Ben Gillig, ordinance amending 2022 budget ordinance 21-105 to appropriate a $10,000 grant received from the Ohio Department of Commerce into the Fire Rescue Division budget.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-50. I'd like to ask my fellow council members for suspension of our three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-50 so that we can get these grant dollars to work for our fire department. Do we have a second? Councilmember Perry?
Yeah, I'll second, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll ask Council Clerk Forrest to take a vote on the suspension, please.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-50 is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Ordinance number 22-51, introduced by Ben Gillig, ordinance amending 2022 budget ordinance 21-105 to appropriate a total of $950.71 in donations received from the Tiffin Vets and Mark and Lisa Jelinas into the Park and Rec budget.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-51. I would also like to ask for council suspension of our three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-51 so that we can get this into the fire budget with special thanks to the AMVETS and Mark and Lisa Jelinas. Do we have a second? Councilman Leopard.
Second the motion, Mr. President.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second for passage of ordinance 22-51. Is there any further discussion? I'll ask Council Clerk to take a vote on the suspension, please.
Councilman Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-51 is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Ordinance authorizing city administrator to prepare, ordinance number 22-52. Introduced by Zach Perkins, ordinance authorizing city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, and recommend and execute a contract for repairs for the Harvest Lane Culvert Project, obtain property rights for the project, and declaring an emergency.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-52. Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for suspension of City Council's three-reading rule and passage of ordinance number 22-52.
We have a motion for suspension of our three reading rule and immediate passage of 22-52. Do we have a second? Councilmember Iannatuno.
I'll second, Mr. President.
Thank you. Motion and a second for suspension and passage of ordinance 22-52. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Leopard.
I visited the site this weekend because I really wasn't too sure where it was at. Once I got there, I saw the large depression in the area where ground's sinking in, and we need to get work on this as soon as we can.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Leopard. Any further discussion? Please take a vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Iannatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Iannatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Emergency passes by a vote of 5-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Iannatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-52 is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Ordinance number 22-53, introduced by Steve Leopard. Ordinance determining and declaring a vacancy in the office of Judge of the Tiffin Municipal Court and declaring an emergency. The Council of the City of Tiffin finds on November 9th, 2021, the Ohio Supreme Court decided the matter of disciplinary counsel v. Rep. 165 Ohio State 582 2021-Ohio-3923. As a result of the court's decision, Respondent Judge Mark Edward Rep., Judge of the Tiffin Municipal Court, was suspended from the practice of law in Ohio and immediately suspended from judicial office. City Council further finds that Judge Rep. Has been absent from official duties for a period in excess of 6 consecutive months, as referenced in ORC Section 1901.10b. The Council of the City of Tiffin, Ohio, therefore ordains Section 1, City Council determines and declares that a vacancy in the office of judge exists due to the absence of Judge Rep., the elected judge of the Tiffin Municipal Court, from official duties for a period in excess of 6 consecutive months. Section 2, the clerk shall provide this ordinance to the Seneca County Board of Elections to begin the process of the election of the Tiffin Municipal Court, consistent with ORC Section 1901.10c. Section 3, that it is found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public or in a properly designated executive session in compliance with the law. Section 4, that this ordinance is hereby determined to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, and welfare of the city of Tiffin, including to provide timely notice to the Board of Elections and the public for any election for the office of municipal court judge.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-53. Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for the suspension of City Council's 3 reading rule and passage of ordinance number 22-53.
Councilmember Iannatuno.
I'll second, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second for suspension of council's 3 reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-53. Do we have any discussion? Councilmember Perry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I get doing the suspending the 3 reading rule for time-sensitive stuff such as, we got to collect bids, we got donations, we want to put them to work, things like that. I feel like I'm not in favor of suspending this just for the fact that I would want to get some input from the 4th Ward or whatever, just to have get some kind of grasp on, what the 4th Ward or what's best for the city of Tiffin. I think we need to dive into this a little bit more and suspend it tonight.
Thank you, Councilmember Perry. Any additional discussion? Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was thinking the same thing. Unless this is time sensitive for Board of Elections or something, I haven't heard that really discussed. If I could get some clarification on that, that would help me out.
Would anybody like to offer any additional clarification? Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's important we put this issue to rest. It's been going on since November 9th. The ruling of the Ohio Supreme Court was quick and definite. By suspending this action this evening only shortens the time for potential candidates to pull their give me a word here. Petitions. Pull their petitions, get signatures, and return to the Board of Elections.
Thank you, Councilman Leopard.
I think we've had plenty of time to form our own opinions, and I think the citizens of the wards expect us to act on this.
Thank you. Councilmember Yanatuno.
I agree with Councilmember Leopard. I've been hearing about it for months. I've not been able to say anything about it for months, and I'm actually getting a little tired of not being able to say anything about it. It just needs to be put to rest. And like he said, you need so much time to get your petitions filled out if they're interested, and if Judge Rep's interested, he can pull one too. I just think we just need to get moving on with this.
Any additional discussion? Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. This just came up 2 hours ago. The people, Councilman Perry said in 4th Ward, 2nd Ward, 1st and 3rd, know nothing about this until they read about it in the paper. If there is going to be some feedback from the 2nd Ward, I guess I would entertain that from the residents of the 2nd Ward. So even based on this discussion, I'm not in favor of suspending the 3-reading rule on 2253.
Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. We were elected to act in the benefit of our wards, and I think that stands out. We don't need to go into our wards, take a survey, yes or no. It's been going on since November. I think that opinions should have already been formed.
And quite honestly, I would agree with that. And I am horrified by what happened to Miss Orta in a City of Tiffin affiliated courtroom. But as you are all aware, we don't have the right to judge the conduct of an elected official, or we don't have the right to remove an elected official because of the conduct. And I completely understand, Councilmember Perry, Councilmember Jones, your trepidation with suspending the 3-reading rule. It gave me some serious pause as well. The issue at hand is there a vacancy? And the answer is yes, there has been a vacancy since November 9th, 2021. That 6-month vacancy has come to fruition as of this month, and we do have a vacancy. And we may wish to have these read a second and third time, but I don't think it will change the base of the issue, is that there has been a vacancy of 6 months. Councilmember Leopard.
I agree. Mr. President, I agree. We are not here to judge Rep's actions. We are here to declare a vacancy. That vacancy has existed, and I feel that it should be put to bed tonight.
Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. What you last 2 council members didn't hit on or spoke about was, and you're correct, this ordinance about is there a vacancy or not after 6 months? There clearly is. Any feedback or input at this time is not necessary. So based on your two comments, I guess I would be in favor of suspending the 3 reading rule. Leave it at that.
Very good. Councilmember Perry.
I feel like there's 2 separate discussions also, because suspending it is a lot different than voting on the ordinance itself, you know. Suspending it for 2 weeks, I don't think, I get that we need to, you know, have action to let people get their signatures, petitions, and whatnot around. But I don't think the day that people read about this in the paper, it should be voted on as well. I think even to give them a chance to have some input about it, to me, is important. So I would be voting no on the suspension at least.
Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do not subscribe to the newspaper anymore. Don't read the newspaper anymore. Online, I have seen many words written about this subject, and there it is. It's in our faces every day on social media, and I think we should be educated by now.
And again, Councilmember Perry, I completely empathize with where you're coming from, and I do appreciate the fact that you would like this to be read 3 times, and I understand that. I suppose my question would be, to what end? We will still have the vacancy, and you know, I commend everyone that has spoken up about this issue. You know, that's been one of my fears, that this would turn into a bloodbath, and it hasn't, and that's a credit, I think, to our fellow citizens. But having this happen today, just in my opinion, will allow us to move forward and will allow the healing to begin. Though, you know, there's things you and I have never agreed on, but I always know that where you're coming from is from the heart and with the best, what you believe to be the best interests of the city in tow. But I would just ask that you consider those points. Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Line 1 of Ordinance 2253, I'm looking at it. 3 key words to me is what we are doing is declaring a vacancy on line 1. That's all we're doing with this ordinance. So I'm not sure waiting 2 weeks or 4 weeks is going to make a difference. We're declaring a vacancy. That's it.
I'm going to ask Council Clerk Forrest to take a vote on the suspension, please. Councilmember Leopard, before we do that.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we don't do it, there's going to be attorneys out there that do it for us. I don't want an attorney from out of town declaring that vacancy. If we can't declare it here, it's our job to do it. We don't need an attorney to do it for us.
If I may ask our Director of Law, with 5 members of council present, would we need unanimous to gain suspension or 4 votes?
Charter requires 5 to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Okay. Very
Any
good.
legislation.
For any legislation. Thank you for the clarification. Councilmember Yanatuno.
I just want to clarify timeline, because it's not just, 2-4 weeks. We knew about it 2 weeks ago. It was in the paper 2 weeks ago. Lawyers spoke about it 2 weeks ago. And then if we go through the whole process, it's another 6 weeks roughly. And so we're looking at 2 months, and we're already at 7 months from the time of this. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say, or should I say anything, but on a personal note, as a woman sitting here, I feel so sorry for you. That was horrible, what was done to you. I thought it was appalling enough when I read it in the paper. And as your lawyer read those charges this evening, I got even more disgusted than I was at the time all of this happened. And so I just can't get past that, and I just think it's appalling, and I know we're not deciding on that, but I really think somebody needed to say that to you tonight. And I appreciate you coming in here this evening and being with us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to echo those sentiments. Appreciate you being here. I imagine this is not particularly easy for you. Any additional discussion? Councilmember Perry.
I wholeheartedly agree. And my only holdup, I think it's still two different discussions here. Just the discussion on the suspension, I don't even think we really dug into kind of the substance of the ordinance to declare a vacancy. I think I have different thoughts about the ordinance itself, on reasons why and why they wrote that statute to begin with. I think we, on a different note, I know I'm going to be talking against myself a little bit, we owe it to the voters to be able to put in there who they want, and if it is Judge Rupp, then that's great, that the voters have spoken. If it's not, then another person will take the seat. But again, I just gotta vote with my heart, and I just can't do it for the suspension at least.
Very good. I'll ask Council Clerk Forrest to take a roll on the suspension, please.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Harry.
No.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
The final vote for ordinance 22-53 was 4-1 by charter. Does not meet the requirements for suspension this evening. So that is the first reading of ordinance 22-53.
That concludes the ordinances, Mr. President.
Thank you. Is there any other business to come before council this evening? Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Really not for council, but got an invite to the wrapping of the traffic control boxes.
Yes.
And I just happened to pick up some paperwork yesterday, I believe, here at City Hall. Walked across the street by the Presbyterian Church. I have to admit, I'm not an artist, but I want to come on that walk to hear the artist explain what it is, because I looked at that traffic box and I didn't stand on my head, but I looked at it from different angles, so I want to go on that tour to learn about it. So just a reminder, that's coming up. I don't have the date off the top of my head. Somebody in this room does, but.
I believe it's on Friday at 6
Oh,
p.m.
okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so looking forward to that.
Starting here.
What a neat idea. I mean, just something as utilitarian as an electric box and having the artwork. Any other business to come before council this evening? Very good. Well, I appreciate everyone's discussion and participation this evening, and we will go ahead and stand adjourned at 8:43 p.m.
All right.